What up, gamers? Today on Dice and Dragons, we're trying to do something different today. We actually got to play a new game this weekend, but it's not our game and we wanted to talk about it. So Julie, what is the game that we actually got to play this weekend?
We played Game of Thrones, Catan.
Brotherhood of the Watch.
There you go. It's a 3 to 4 player game.
Yep.
There's no expansion on it yet.
Yep.
And plays in about 60 to 75 minutes, though I think we took 90 minutes to do it.
Yeah, I think it can run a little bit on the long side. We've played some other games of just regular Catan and it ran probably, close to about 2 hours, that game. So depending on the amount of players, it can definitely run a little bit longer. Now the game is by Fantasy Flight Games and it was designed by Klaus and Benjamin Tuber. Now, for this video, what we're going to be doing is really giving you guys our first impressions of the game and giving you a little bit of an overview of the game. We don't have any components to show you. It's something that we didn't necessarily want to do on the channel, but as we sort of expanded our sphere of gaming and we're trying out games that we don't always have, we're going to see what we can do by giving you guys just some shorter first impression videos, and we'll change up our review scoring and we'll talk about that as we get into it. But with that being said, we're going to grab our drinks, we're going to grab our best friend, and then we're going to take you guys straight into our first impressions. So keep it right here.
Yeah, see, this was also not a cooperative.
No, it's not a co-op.
No, and you first opportunity, you blocked me.
Well, you were kind of going for where I wanted to go.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Well, don't build next to me. You know the way it works.
No.
You stay on this side, I stay on that side. You don't have any problems. So, Game of Thrones Catan, Brotherhood of the Watch. What are your first impressions of the game? And as we're doing a first impression video, we'll talk a little bit about what we got in the box. So what did you think about what we got in the box and the value it maybe brings to our viewers out there?
So first of all, it does bring base Catan, which is great if you don't already have it, and you like Game of Thrones, and you can get both. So it's, that is interesting.
You don't get the 5 to 6 player expansion though, so that is a little bit of a negative. Now hopefully they will make a 5 to 6 player expansion for this version of Catan in the future.
So you also get the Game of Thrones versions, and one of the things I liked is I always like having
miniatures.
Basically the little miniatures, and I think it was the wildlings were interesting. The giants, the axe throwers, the it was interesting and added a different dynamic that I appreciated. I appreciated the leader cards.
Yes,
so
the hero cards.
The heroes that have special abilities, and they add a different dynamic, a different mechanic to the game, which I feel makes the game of Catan a little bit more fun. Yep,
so you do have all of the heroes from the Night's Watch, but maybe not all of them, but a large chunk of them. Those of you that are familiar with the series and the people protecting Hadrian's Wall will recognize them. And the one thing that I do want to say about the hero cards is they do make the game a lot more intricate, like Julie was saying. And I like the fact that we're able to sort of swap them in and out. And what did you think of the replacement sort of not the miniatures, but the replacement pieces for the player characters? I mean, you've got like the settlements, the keeps, the guards that are there as well.
I mean, it's Catan, but with a Game of Thrones feel. You're not going to make a lot of friends out there by saying that I'm not a huge fan of either.
Well, we haven't watched much of the show. We watched about one episode. We're waiting for the whole thing to be out there so we can watch it all at once. So don't jump on us in the comment section. We are going to watch the whole thing. We just didn't want to have to go through Game of Thrones withdrawal. Exactly. We've seen some people suffering from it. It's pretty ugly.
So I did enjoy. I mean, I think it's nice. You've got the settlement, you got the keep.
I just like the way it looks. I like the look of it.
Yeah, I like the board and the reminder, and I think the cards are nice as well. So it's a nice game. It's I mean, we've played the original Catan before with friends. I think this one's prettier. I'd say that.
Okay, and so I'll just add a little bit of my impressions going off stuff that she didn't necessarily cover. I really do like the setup and also the rule book. The rule book is very good to get you started. The map is a lot nicer. The idea of having something that can go around the board to hold the hexes, I do really like. Now we will include down below in the video description a link so you guys can see some images of what we're talking about on BGG. We'll link it to there because you'll find most of the images. And I will say that the one thing that we did find, and I think it's a negative part of the first impression, is the 3-player game didn't seem all that balanced. Part of it was a little bit luck, but there was certain areas, if you follow the 3-player base game setup, I was the one that won that game. I was getting an insane amount of resources. It wasn't even funny. I was just raking in way more stuff than anyone else and almost kind of ran away with the game. Now it was like 10 to 7 to 4 just based on the timing, but in terms of resource generation and if a couple of other things had gone my way earlier on, they wouldn't really have been in the game. Julie really didn't feel like she was in the game from the get-go. But overall, what you're getting in the box, the fact that you're getting base Catan, an upgraded version of Catan, is something that people that like Catan or don't have the base game are going to enjoy. And if you don't want to play with up to 6 players, I think this may be the version of Catan to get right now. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, and hopefully, as you said, hopefully they come out with an expansion, because I think with more players, it would definitely be more balanced. I honestly, like I said.
So I think just before we continue, we're just going to be stopping to talk about like what we get in the box and a little bit what we think. Let's talk about the gameplay right now.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a little bit too much to luck. And that's not the type of game that I love. If it's going to be that, I'd like it to be all luck and not let's kill your strategy. So, I mean, the games that I've played of Catan in the past and the games that we played this weekend, even with the new version, though it's a little bit better, like you said, it's still, in this particular case, I kept getting blocked. So even though my number would come up and I had a good number, I was always blocked by the robber.
But you did a very good job of controlling the robber. So what do you think of how those cards...
So the hero cards are an interesting dynamic, because you can swap them out, use the different elements of it. You could exchange it if you have one that's not doing the ability that you want. You can, as long as one of the other players doesn't have it, you can swap it out.
Yep.
So and you can't use it twice. You can use it twice, the card, and you have to use a different hero.
Yeah, I really like that fact that it means that you have to change your heroes. One person can't just hog a hero for the entire game. And I do want to talk a bit about the cooperative elements of the game. Now, Julie didn't have too many options where she needed to really be cooperative, but we were playing with my stepbrother, and hopefully you'll actually see him on the show in the near future, is we have to really manage the wall together to prevent the wildlings from invading the areas called the gift and really stopping our resource production. And I like that, because at one point we were all really going at each other, but then as the wildling army kind of started approaching, we're like, wait a second, this doesn't look good for any of us. Well, Julie didn't have to help out as much. Luke and I took a much less antagonistic approach to the game, where we were helping each other out a little bit more and focusing on the wall. I do like the fact that threat and the way that the threat is deployed, it's random, which I think is one good part of randomness in the game.
Well, it also, I would say, one of the things as well is as you build, you unleash the wildlife.
Yes, I liked as well.
So, as Jason alluded to, he was getting all the rolls, all the resources, so he kept building, and he was basically unleashing all the wildlings at us, and then wanted us to protect the wall. So yes, cooperatively you can protect the wall. The giants can take away your guards, but you do score points for the guards that you do have left at the end, so there is a reward for your cooperation. But you have to be willing, and at that point, if you have very scarce resources, you aren't necessarily going to want to protect the wall to help somebody else. You just want to get your resources as well, right? It's still competitive in that regard.
And I think that's where the game falls a little bit flat, at least in the 3-player version. I think in a 4-player version of the game, we'd have a very different experience. Now, we did take a quick look at Board Game Geek just to see what people thought of the game in terms of the best player count, and people are basically saying the game plays best at 4, and I think that we both agree on that. The game really is more of a 4-player game if you're playing the Game of Thrones version. And I think we've talked enough about the game. We gave you the impression of the box. We've talked a little bit about the game. Now I'm just going to talk about our rating system. Since we did not get to spend a lot of time with the game, we're really going to be giving it a 3-scale rating. It's going to be eager. Are we eager to play the game again? Will we play the game? If the game comes out, it shows up on the table, will we pick it up and play it if someone asks us? And then there will also be pass. So you may be seeing us doing some more of these first impression videos, but our rating is going to be eager, will, and pass. So that being said, Julie, what would you give Game of Thrones Catan, Brotherhood of the Watch, for your first impression of the game?
I would play it again if in certain circumstances. Sorry. I would not necessarily play it if we owned it.
Okay.
If you said, hey, let's play a game, we have so many other options, I would say it's a pass.
Yeah.
However, we have a group of friends that love Catan. They love playing it. That's their game. And out of respect for them, if they say, hey, let's play a game, I'll play it. I don't hate it. We have other games I would prefer playing to it.
So I'm pretty much on the same boat as Julie. Now it definitely is a will play again for me. I would say though is I don't know if I would play it again at 3 players. I think for me, the next time I play this game, it's going to have to be at a 4-player count. I really want to get the full experience. Now, if we do get the opportunity to borrow the game, or if, for example, we do end up picking up the game because there's a lot of good stuff in it and we don't currently own a base version of Catan, you may see us do a full review of the game on the channel. That being said, I think we have covered everything that we wanted to say about it. You can find links to some of our videos popping up shortly overhead. You also find links to our social media feeds down below in the video description, as well as a link to some information on Game of Thrones Catan, Brotherhood of the Watch. And thank you guys for watching, and as always here on Dice and Dragons, we grab our drinks, grab our best friends, and you're gonna take us out?
Keep playing games.
Keep playing games.
I almost messed it up.
You almost messed it up, but that was very cute.
I'm not playing Catan with you again, though.
Why not?
Because you're ruthless.
I was not that ruthless. You literally, I've got a row going like this, and you decided to build like this to cut me off.
I wasn't cutting you off. You were trying to hog all the good resources. Everybody can get some coal or whatever it's called.
You could have gone over there.
Yes.
You just wanted to go compete with me over there.
No.
Maybe I should just blow up your Death Star again.
Yeah, it's on the same level, I think.